Is there proof that our reality was intelligently designed? If so, what are the clues, and where might we find them? The PhD says look no further than right outside your door. An athlete sets out to achieve an impossible goal that nearly cost him his life. So, did he achieve it? And if so, was it worth the risk? And is there a high vibe lesson here? Did the Mayans decode nature's language? Can evidence be found in terra preta, the black soil rich in nutrients that laces the Amazon? What can the Mayans teach us about agriculture and sustainability? What high vibe animals' slow movements protects them from predators while simultaneously demonstrating a reverence for mindfulness? You're gonna love this one. So, you're about to give a big speech, pitch a company your big idea, or just ask a girl out on a date. What is the best way to calm your nerves right before you make your move? And finally, my journey to become a Jedi derailed my life. How a Star Wars actress who portrayed a legendary member of the extended Skywalker family fell for the dark side of the Force. What enabled her to finally see the light and escape a dangerous cult? And what can her experience teach us about deception? All of these stories and more coming up in High Vibe Finds. So is there proof that our reality was intelligently designed? If so, what are the clues and where might we find them? According to Dr. Robert Gilbert, researcher and host of Living in a Coded World, which you can watch on Gaia, look no further than right outside your door. The best evidence that the world is not random, but rather built on sacred intelligent patterns is the Fibonacci sequence, which is found everywhere in nature, including in leaf arrangements, seed patterns, and flower petals. For example, sunflowers have spirals that follow Fibonacci numbers, and so do pine cones, pineapples, and even the branches of a tree. The nautilus shell and many mollusk shells follow the golden spiral, which is mathematically linked to the Fibonacci sequence. This spiral grows outward but retains its shape, a hallmark of proportion and order. Dr. Gilbert sees these forms and patterns as living signatures of sacred geometry, a conscious universal language of creation, which, if true, is a clear sign of encoded intelligence. Look, I get it. It's kind of like when an artist scribbles their signature in the corner of a masterwork, as Da Vinci did with the Mona Lisa. And also how modern producers will record some sort of a vocals thing in the front of a song just to prove that it's theirs. Hey, we all want credit for our work. So what do you think? Is our world random chaos? Or does Dr. Gilbert have it right? Let me know in the comments. In my opinion, I agree with Einstein when he said the most important decision we make is whether we believe we live in a friendly or a hostile universe. I'm going with friendly, which means intelligent design all the way. Imagine if an athlete, say a basketball player, set out to play a perfect game, meaning that he or she must make every single shot they took. Now, imagine if they missed even one shot, that the penalty was death. That's exactly what rock climber Alex Honnold faced when he climbed El Capitan, a 3,000-foot granite slate in Yosemite National Park, without any ropes. No gear, no help, no second chances. One misstep, and that's it. Ball game. But let's be clear, he didn't just show up and hope for the best. He trained his body and his mind for years. He rehearsed every move until there was no room for fear to flourish. When one approaches a task with that kind of focus and dedication, when one goes super deep into monk mode, I can't help but admire it, even if it seems kind of reckless. But it wasn't easy. During training, Alex took a nasty fall and sprained his ankle. Later, while climbing with his girlfriend, he fell again. Only this time he injured his spine. It was kind of her fault, which strained their relationship. Alex even contemplated breaking up, but ultimately he stayed with her and stayed the course. And in June 2017, Alex ascended El Capitan. You can watch him do it for yourself in the documentary film Free Solo. Personally, I still got nervous watching him cross the crux. I mean, he had to karate kick his leg over this huge gap and then lunge his body to the other side in order to continue up. The whole thing is breathtaking, but also amazing. But this reveals a high vibe truth. When you're in tune with your purpose, fear doesn't paralyze you. It sharpens you. In those moments, you don't just defy the odds, you redefine what's possible. Imagine what you could achieve if you put even 10% more energy toward your goals. Everything can be accomplished with focus, creativity, and dedication. So let this be your clarion call. Otherwise, how will you know how far you can go? Speaking of the impossible, did the Mayans decode nature's language? If so, can definitive proof be found in terra preta, the black soil rich in nutrients discovered in parts of the Amazon? The presence of terra preta suggests that ancient peoples, including the Maya, didn't just survive in the Amazon, they actively transformed it. This rich, dark soil is not naturally occurring. It was created by intentionally combining charcoal, organic waste, such as food scraps, fish bones, and manure, with pottery shards and microbial life. The soil retains nutrients for thousands of years, unlike the typically poor Amazonian soil, which is pretty much red dead clay. Like megalithic structures, aqueducts, and astronomical observatories, terra preta indicates that ancient Americans were scientists, builders, and stewards of the land who understood biology and cosmic cycles. So, not just nomadic hunter-gatherers as previously believed. It stands to reason that they must have decoded nature's language in order to understand cycles of decay and renewal, of death becoming life. Turning waste into fertile ground is a form of earth alchemy. With terra preta, you're not just gardening, you're creating a legacy of abundance for generations. This very process transforms us from consumers to creators, the highest role we can play as conscious beings. On that note, I'm super excited to share that scientists have recently rediscovered how to make terra preta, or at least one way to make it. Monterey Pacific, which has been researching biochar in vineyards, and Pro-E Bioenergy, has started to sell activated terra preta. So, good on modern science for finally catching up to our genius high-vibe ancient ancestors. Side note, it might have been a good idea not to burn almost every book that the Mayans wrote. Before we get to your spotlight story about how a Star Wars actress who was seduced by the dark side and trapped inside a dangerous cult for years finally escaped, let's do some animal trivia. If you were on a tropical cruise through the rainforest, what animal might you find chilling in the trees without a care in the world? The answer is your high vibe animal of the day, the sloth. Now, at first glance, a sloth might not seem high vibe. I mean, it barely moves, right? But when you zoom out and tune in, the sloth might actually be one of the most high vibrational creatures in the animal kingdom. Here's why. Number one, radical presence. Sloths move intentionally and without rushing. In a world obsessed with speed and hustle, the sloth reminds us to slow down, be present, and move with purpose. That's pure mindfulness in motion. Number two, unbothered energy. Sloths don't waste energy on drama. They don't chase, compete, or stress. This kind of physical and emotional conservation is aligned with inner peace, detachment, and flow. And finally, natural harmony. Sloths live in perfect balance with their environment. Their slow movements protect them from predators, and their fur even grows algae, providing a mini ecosystem. That's not domination, that's coexistence, a principle at the heart of high vibe conscious living. Now, what I like best about them is they always seem to be smiling. Who doesn't want to see a friendly face in the jungle? Sloths are like meditating monks, cuddly gurus, reminding us to breathe, soften, and listen to our inner rhythm. So what do you think? If you saw one of these guys hanging around your backyard, would you feed it? Call animal control? Invite it inside, or just let it be? Let me know in the comments. So you're about to give a big speech, pitch a company your big idea, or ask a girl out on a date. What is the best way to calm your nerves right before you make your move? Here's a powerful combo of breath work and mental focus that's used by Navy SEALs and recommended by neuroscientists like Dr. Andrew Huberman. Before you do anything, take one deep inhale through your nose. Now a second shorter sip of air. Then slowly exhale through your mouth. Then do it one more time so that your body can remember that you're safe. Now say to yourself, I'm not here to impress. I'm here to connect. I'm not here to impress. I'm here to connect. This will help you stay grounded and be authentic. Remember, this isn't a life or death situation. It's a chance to be present, real, and open to new possibilities. I recently heard someone talk about how when you're telling the truth, you're trying to convey, as opposed to when you're lying, you're trying to convince. So as long as you stay in your present moment, you'll be your most authentic self, and you'll be able to convey who you are and what it is you want to achieve. So let's get to your spotlight story. My journey to become a Jedi derailed my life. How a Star Wars actress fell for the dark side of the Force. She found her high-vibe tribe, but lost her identity. What enabled her to finally see the light and escape a dangerous cult? Now, I love this story. I also love the TV series, but we'll get to that. An actress and singer from Australia named Bonnie, best known for her role as young Aunt Beru in the Star Wars prequels and the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, attended a workshop back in 2010 that was hosted by a self-improvement group known as NXIVM. Bonnie was immediately blown away by the curriculum. She marveled at their strategies for overcoming limiting beliefs, taking responsibility for your life, and becoming the highest version of yourself. All of that sounds amazing, unless there's something rotten beneath the surface. Spoiler alert, there was. But at the time, Bonnie believed that the teachings offered her tools that improved emotional regulation, communication, and clarity. One of the most powerful aspects of NXIVM was the tight-knit, mission-driven culture. Members were encouraged to support each other, to grow together, and to work toward a shared vision of improving humanity. Bonnie found close friendships, a sense of purpose, and she even met her future husband, Mark, who was producing content for the company and documenting its leader, a man named Keith Raniere. Bonnie and Mark both felt like they were on an exciting spiritual journey to becoming real-life Jedis. Keith's philosophy blended psychology, neuroscience, and ethics in a way that felt profound. And for a while, things seemed ideal, almost like a fairy tale, until one day, the lack of sleep, lack of pay, and lack of nutrition forced Bonnie to take a step back. During this downtime, she noticed inconsistencies, subtle manipulation, and toxic control masked as commitment to growth. Her intuition began ringing alarm bells, especially when she saw how those who didn't follow orders were treated, how women were spoken to, and eventually, what she learned about a group called DOS that was made up of young women who would secretly meet with the founder Keith Raniere to participate in illicit acts. DOS operated under the guise of female empowerment, but involved coercive practices, sexual exploitation, and even branding. Once Bonnie learned this, she shared the details with Mark, but he refused to see it. He couldn't believe that the man he spent over a decade looking up to was involved in such depravity. Obviously, this difference of opinion strained their relationship, but after months of Bonnie encouraging Mark to investigate, he finally did, and had his own aha moment. Both now accepted the truth, that they were part of a high-control group, otherwise known as a cult. NXIVM used all of the classic techniques that cults use to lure people in and keep them in, including love bombing, which is where other members shower you with compliments to make you feel included and accepted. High-purpose framing, where everyone believes that the group is going to change the world and elevate humanity. An awesome goal for sure, but many times unattainable. This framing encourages you to think of sacrificing your time, money, and sleep as noble. And then there's breaking you down only to build you back up, a process that blurs the line between growth and gaslighting, and often makes you doubt your own intuition. Information control, where participants are discouraged from reading negative press or talking to outsiders. Relationship manipulation. In the case of NXIVM, Keith encouraged breakups and emotional distancing in order to increase his control. And finally, there's progressive indoctrination, otherwise known as boiling the frog. The most disturbing practices weren't introduced right away. They happened only after a long period of time and were always disguised as empowerment. And yes, this even includes insane diets, perverse sexual acts, and branding. Once Mark had his revelation, he and Bonnie decided to go to war with NXIVM. They reported them to the police, to the FBI, and even the New York Times, which first broke the story. Together, they helped others escape from the cult, and later participated in the HBO series The Vow, which I highly recommend. I don't want to spoil the ending, but I will say that Keith got what he deserved. Now, after this ordeal, Bonnie and Mark moved to Portugal to focus on healing and to begin brand new creative endeavors. But this happy ending would not have been possible if Bonnie didn't step back, zoom out, and reset, because this allowed her to finally listen to her intuition and get clarity. Like I've said many times before, your intuition is your greatest ally. When you get an uneasy feeling in your gut, trust it. Not only could it save your life, but it could also prevent you from joining a cult. So, what else can we learn from Bonnie's ordeal? Well, the importance of having critical awareness, for starters. If you've ever been gaslit before, which you definitely have because there's so much mis and disinformation flying across the internet these days, then you know how horrible it feels to have someone tell you that the obvious facts you're looking at are wrong and that you should deny your own instincts. We're all confronted with challenges on this planet and in this lifetime. It is our job to find ways to overcome the obstacles, to reach higher plateaus, and then to continue our ascent, our evolution as a soul. And if you're watching this show, you're already on the right path. It's our responsibility to do a little research, to dig a little deeper, and to look a little closer before we leap, no matter how noble a cause might seem. Which brings me to your quote of the day. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Henry Ford said this back in 1922. After years of trying and failing to get his different businesses off the ground, he took what he learned and ventured into a brand new market, mass production of cars. My guess is that he made a tiny but significant shift in his mindset, going from, this probably won't work, to, this is it. This is the one. You know what I'm talking about. What I find intriguing is that Chinese philosopher Confucius said something almost identical 1,000 years prior. The man who says he can and the man who says he cannot are both right. Wisdom is timeless. Your beliefs about yourself and your success are paramount to your success. With energy and intention, you can create the life you desire and deserve. Of that, I have no doubt. I hope you found today's show intriguing and inspiring. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe for more high vibe finds. And leave me a comment letting me know your favorite story. We live in challenging times, which is exactly why I do this show, to remind you and myself that there is beauty and wonder within us and all around us. Until next time, namaste.
Block out the noise, tune into joy.